Black from Eblacktv. Welcome to YouTube Conversations. How are you?
What's going on, my guy?
All right. So let's get into this. First of all, I appreciate you taking the interview. Um, I do appreciate that. So where are you from?
I'm originally from the Bay Area. I was born in Oakland, raised in San Francisco, kind of, you know, became the man that I am based on Oakland because, that's where most of my friends are from. That's who I am. But, depending on where you're at, part of the city, I'm a San Francisco dude. Depending on where I'm at in the country, I'm probably an Oakland dude. You know, but I'm from the Bay.
Okay. And you grew up poor, middle class, or rich?
Oh gosh, that's in relative terms. I probably grew up middle working class. I grew up mom working. She tried to own a business in mortgage and finances, and she married a guy who was a stable man, um, who had a child. So you know, I didn't have everything that I wanted, but I had everything that I needed. So
Okay. So you didn't grow up like on government assistance, food stamps.
no, no.
Okay. So you don't understand how the struggle is real, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
But
yeah.
you grew up around people that grew up with public assistance and so forth, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
The
You see
area I
the
grew up in,
difference.
the area I grew up in San Francisco, Hunters Point, Bayview. You see what's going on, and we interact. We're in terms of San Francisco, it's a small community of African Americans, the naval yards. You know, your neighbors, your friends, you don't know who's doing what, and everybody's just trying to make it as a
Mm,
black man and living in the West Coast city of dreams.
wow. So most of your life you grew up in a two-family household, or
Yeah, yeah. I grew up with my mom, and my mom remarried after my father and them had a fallout. She remarried a couple of years later, but for the most part, I can truly say I grew up in a two-parent household. There's a lot of other things that go involved, like alcoholism, drugs. My
mm,
grandma lived with me, so it's you know I don't want to sit here and say that I was perfect, but it
yeah.
is what it is.
But now, did you see a difference between the I guess other friends that you went to school with and so forth, and maybe the way they turn out now that grew up in a one family household, and that it does make, even though it's not perfect, it's probably far from it, but it does make a difference.
Yeah, the we grew up in a house, and I could tell the difference between those who were renting. I could tell those who were living in the projects. I can tell the difference, but at the same time, when you're growing up in a multicultural area as a black man, you're all the same for the most part. Once you leave the doors of your house, you're a black man in America. So I didn't look too deep into it. Social status has a lot to do with everything. It's
Yep.
all about how you dress, how you wear your clothes. So the project dudes had most of the J's and Jordans. They like, let's be real. The dudes from the projects probably dress better than us middle class cats. So
What's so funny about the between the I grew up very poor, but when it came to food, when we always had the name brand foods, right? And the people that were middle class, our shopping
no,
cart is full, and the people who are working, their shopping cart is empty with like some off-brand food, right?
and that was exactly how we were. Literally the working class. Now as a man with children, I realize what working middle class means is that you're affording, you're buying you're buying into the American dream, and you're at the base level. So I understand now what it means to be, the working middle class. So, you know, I don't look down on anybody. It's totally changed my mind on how American politics and everything is going, because I see where, poor people, yeah, you couldn't tell me to go on food stamps because the minimal requirements for food stamps is just too low. But at the same time, I would love food stamps when I go shopping. It's like it's a catch 22. You either poor enough to get food stamps or you're not poor enough. So
Yeah, of course the people that are poor, they they do benefit, but then also it comes with a mindset. The thing about being poor, middle class and poor is a big difference, right?
yes,
So I think with the thing with being poor, the biggest difference is the mindset, because if you're on government, especially I'm in New York City, okay?
yes,
So New York City with government assistance is like, man, it's there's no
it's a
reason to be
legacy.
working. It's
Is
it's
it?
really because you get on Section 8, right? You get on Section 8. Section 8, if the rent is normally 2,200, you're paying about $46.
Mm-hmm.
3 to 4 bedroom. I'm not even 3 to 4 bedroom. Then you get food stamps, and you also get cash assistance. And then you have your man, or you have your boyfriend on the side. He has a city job, but he has his mom at a different address. He's making 80 to 100,000. You file your taxes, you're getting like what, $3,000 to $4,000 per child, and then come on. So I think that's a big. But then guess what? You can never elevate.
Yes.
You can never elevate. So what was the biggest struggle growing up?
I mean, the biggest struggle growing up, like I said, was just living in the fact that, you were never able to really compete with society, like you were rich, you had a family who was probably working hard enough to contribute, but they had ideologies and things that they paid for, but at the same time you were poor enough to not compete with the people who were affluent in the area. So the struggles that I had was really alleviating a lot of the pain from my mom. I was one of those kids that when the pennies and the Jordans came out, I would never dare to ask my mom for those shoes because I knew she worked too hard for them. That was me. I was that kid. Now my stepbrother, oh, he wanted the Shacks when they were $200. He wanted the flyest clothes because his father spoiled him because he was the only son of him. So you know I see the duality in all this, and but the most of the struggles that I dealt with were mainly just dealing with as a black man in America in most metropolitan cities. Women dealing with trying to make it, trying to keep up with the Joneses. So I don't look at my struggles as true struggle. I just look at them as just adversity that most people go through.
No, of course. How do you feel about children on social media?
Ooh, that's tough. Um, with the way that the internet's going, of course, with different media sites, screen recordings, I try to, in terms of my children, limit the way that they look. I try. I literally only have like one video of my daughter. She wants to be a YouTube star because she sees me on there, and I try to limit just in general what exposure she has. And I don't think that people realize if if you're not the Kardashians who are able to control the narrative, who are able to send lawyers to people's desktop, I would say just keep them off of it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have children, but I have family, nephew, nieces. There was a case that recently came out that, a few years ago, Walmart started to be like kind of like eBay, where or maybe like Amazon, right? So it's not like online, it's not Walmart, right? So like you'll pick out like a t-shirt, and it's really from another company, but it's on
Yes.
the Walmart website. When you click on it, you can see where company is from. So the way it will work is that they'll show like a little girl wearing a t-shirt, and it's from a children's t-shirt, but the t-shirt is like
Mm-hmm.
1,200, 3,000, 5,000. You're like, why would a t-shirt cost that much? Because they're taking images from social media, They take an image from social media and they put it as if they're selling a T-shirt. But
Mm-hmm.
if you're in that pedophilia arena, you understand that you're buying the child.
Yes.
So people are posting the child on social media, and guess what happens? Someone will make the purchase, and then that's when it'll begin the kidnapping.
Yes.
And it's
It's
real.
it's
It's real.
definitely real. It's definitely real. You know, I think I forgot what clothing store had got in trouble with that, where they were naming the clothing brands and the shirts after possibly missing children. It was, but if you have to protect your children, please do so, because we're not talking about 100 people. We're talking about millions of people who are now consuming the internet.
Mm.
And you have to understand that there are pedophiles out there, and it's not worth having one on your radar.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how easy is it to be a father?
Oh, how easy. Oh Lord, let's see. Let's see. On a scale of 1 to 10, how easy? Let's see. It is
So
probably.
1 will be hard, 10 will be really easy.
I would put it as. Okay, let me put it as me personally. Me personally, I would say a good solid 4.
Is it for now? What if you was a single father? What number would
Oh,
that be?
single father, I would definitely put it as probably a 8 or 9.
As being easy?
Oh, I apologize.
So it's the,
Let me.
I flip it this. It's the other
Yeah, yeah,
way.
yeah. You flipped it.
Yeah.
So okay, as a single, as a father with a woman, yes, it's probably an 8 as, in terms of easiness, because you have somebody to help out. You have another individual that you know that reflects your personality, your needs, your wants, everything. It's not that hard. It's hard, but it's not that hard. Single fathers, ugh, I give it to them. So I would definitely say for them, it's probably harder. You know, definitely, because they're taking the grunt of a lot of the emotional needs of a child.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how easy is it to be a husband?
Uh, with one being easy, okay, I would actually say, as a black man in America who's as handsome as I am, I would say a 9. It's hard. It's hard. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie to you.
So you created the channel Eblacktv, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
You know, I used to do a little boxing. I used to do a little basketball. I was a very competitive individual. COVID hit. COVID hit all of us. So everything that, in terms of human reaction and touch and everything that we naturally have and all our lives have got stopped. So me being a computer programmer, me being a consumer of internet, I decided, hey, why not just express yourself through media? So that's really how it started. Just basically COVID put me to a spot to where I didn't have the competitive nature, or I needed it.
When you uploaded your first video, was you nervous?
No,
No, you didn't do retakes. You didn't take it down. You didn't
no,
upload it. Then I was no. Okay.
no. I When I uploaded my first video, I realized that people were gonna get a peek into who I am, and I not to say that I'm like overconfident, but I just think that I'm a good dude. I have no. I don't want to say I have no flaws, but I don't have no fears. I don't cap. I don't lie. I don't steal. I don't cheat. I don't like. What are you gonna do to me? Talk
Yeah.
about my hair?
Especially with
Like,
you being a husband and a father and black. There's a lot of because within the black community, there's a lot of people that are single, never been married, and they're talking about, well, I understand we could talk about it, but I don't think people qualify to speak about the issues that they're talking about when they've never experienced it. You could talk about like I've never been married, so I'll talk about it, but I really I can't tell a married man like yourself what should be done.
Yeah.
But I mean, you see that, right? Like a lot of the, even a lot of the females that's like advocating for black men, they're in a space talking about what men need to do and what but they've never experienced it.
Yeah.
They've never experienced a man leading them.
Yeah. That's the tricky part where, even in my friends group, I am one of the few men who've actually jumped the broom. So, you know, I try to tell, basically, until you've actually committed yourself to God and you understand what's going on and how human and relationships and dealing with women, you don't know. You don't know. Like I remember the first time I've actually picked up my daughter and realized that I have to take care of this human being, and not only that, having a person beside me that I knew that I had to take care. I had to make sure that she was healthy, because it wasn't easy to have this child. That's the one thing that people don't understand is that for some people, pregnancy is hard. So as a father who had to go through that and to see the changes within the woman that he's married, and it's just like I said, is one of those things that, yeah, we can speculate on a whole bunch of stuff, but until you've lived it, you never understand what's going on. So be gentle, have grace, but just understand that you may not know what the heck you're talking about.
Yeah, I do.
Like,
But I mean, you do see it, right? Quite often, a lot of people are
yes.
speaking, they're telling other men. I'm like, hmm, and a lot of men that are in relationships, they love black women, they love the black woman, but you won't marry one.
Mm.
So, okay. So, what do you find most frustrating about social media, YouTube, stuff like that? What do you find kind of like frustrating, or just like what's kind of weird to you?
The part that I find like most frustrating is that the goodness in people that they ignore, the goodness in themselves that they ignore. You know, I realized that we're back in high school again, where we all know what we should be doing. We should be studying and we should be doing the great things. We're old enough now to understand these things, and we're still doing the same things. So the things that I realize is that the cap will always win. The lion, the fronting will always win, and the people who are actually putting the effort, we have the hardest journey. So you know, yeah, if you're willing to take up that battle, take it up. But don't cry about it. But like I said, you're gonna have to deal with a lot of stuff that I put it to. I think about LeVar Ball. Remember when LeVar Ball went through his thing where he said, that things about Molly, and he's like, "Oh, we're about to, oh, yeah, we can gear up, right?" Well, I know what LeVar Ball meant, but everybody understood what LeVar Ball meant. It was not that playful. But there are people who will go on TV, his co-workers, his teammates, his friends, people who know him specifically will still go on TV and say he is wrong, he is dead, and they will cap for no apparent reason. And then they will call him and say, "I understood what you had said, but I had to do this. Just I had to do it." And it's like that's the part that, like, in terms of the internet game, that I realized that, okay, yeah, that is a real thing. People on the righteous side, people on the right side, will not do it for the sake of the narrative, for the sake of what's right. It's just one of the. It's a byproduct of being on the social media game. If you don't like it, then this is not a place for you.
Yeah, I mean, the media and people that he knows, try their best to separate him from his sons.
Yes.
They asked him recently. They asked him, why won't you just fall back and let Michael Jordan give him advice? He said, "When was the last time Michael Jordan won?" Michael Jordan is the best, right? He's a GOAT. You can call him whatever you want, but when was the last time he won a game?
Mm-hmm.
Long time ago, right?
Yeah.
These kids are currently winning, and they try their best. The media, everyone tried. Even when he spoke about personal meetings and signing contracts, they try to get them when his father's not around. Isn't that crazy? You have a black man that's there with his sons, making sure he's protecting his kids,
The
and they
thing
trying their
about
best to.
the thing I always say is that the black man's voice is the highest regulated voice in America. You're never gonna get a fair shake. You're never gonna get a fair deal from any entity in this place because we're never gonna have really true honesty. So, you know, I love LeVar Ball because, like I said, if I was the opportunity to have three children and they all have the opportunity to not go to jail, make millions of dollars,
Not on drugs,
not on drug, like
no baby
that's
mamas.
the American dream. So that should tell you that, and not only that, try to independently make companies sell shoes, break from the traditional enslaved tradition of shoe deals and contracts. These are things that we're not talking about, but I understand why we're not talking about it because it's a black man. If it was a black woman, oh, she's such a
She's
influencer. She's such a fighter. She is the antithesis of what black lifestyle. It's like, come on now. We all understand, as real black men understand what's going on, and like I said, with LeVar Ball, and especially in any situation, as long as you're a black in America, as a male who's standing up for their children, you're never gonna get a fair shake.
no, no. I think you're starting to look. Um, I've seen different quotes, and I have family as well. Um, why you crying to see your son? Like, why you whining? Like, why you weak? Why you? It's like it's really backwards. So recently, Courtney Michelle, you've heard of her, right? Courtney
Oh,
Michelle. She
Courtney. Oh
recently
yeah, that's my cousin, little Courtney.
she recently left the Lapeef. She was on another YouTube,
Yes.
and I'll credit them. I can't pronounce his. I forgot what his name, but she was recently on his stream, and she made a good point of why she left the Lapeef network. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why she left, for just I guess the whole red pill kind of like, is because since the video came out of Kevin Samuels, she's average at best. You seen that video, right?
Yes.
Okay. So from the time Kevin Samuels made that video till now, do you feel like us as black people, when it comes to the dating space, has gotten better?
I would honestly say yes, because what did was bring real ammunition to the black men's space. You know, he really brought a lot of real life talking points that I've always felt, and he also projected that onto the women, and they had to start thinking about that. So for me, yeah, he definitely added a different. He's upgraded the textbooks basically. You could, some men don't study, some women don't study, but who if you do study, you do have upgraded material, and you should be able to understand what's really going on in America in terms of what's 2020. So I think he's definitely upgraded what's going on. I think it's just a matter he's stopped traditional thinking because we were going on far too long with the same BS.
Kevin Samuels upgraded a lot, man. He
Mm-hmm.
upgraded when you're streaming. You make sure your background's clear. Make sure your camera. He got us to upgrade our cameras.
Yes.
He
I
just
need to get one of those statues that kind of float and
Yeah, I'm
like.
like, man, yeah. So he definitely made you want to put on a show.
Mm-hmm.
Come prepared. Don't just show up and just go. Hey, let me go off top.
Yes.
Um, but no, what I do find is that when I watch Kevin Samuel, it's the topic is too redundant. You still
Yeah.
like he goes on live and it's like 20,000 40,000 people on his IG, Instagram, and women are still coming on there with their bonnets on.
Yeah.
At this
But that's
point,
that's reality though. That's reality. Let's be honest. That's what's going on even when I was dating. Like this the lack of self-image for and respect for oneself is just totally gone out the door. And you really don't realize how far we've gone until somebody points it out like, "Hey, a bonnet is not okay for any social engagement." I have no problem with the idea of bonnets. I understand moisturizer. Look, I have my hair a little long. I know what it takes to take care of this hair. But at the same time when it comes to human reaction and you're seeing women go to the store, you only realize that our women are going to the store like this. When you talk about healthy dating habits and you realize our women are only doing these habits, like it it's like I said, Kevin Samuels has totally updated the textbooks in terms of what we expect as men, and it's fine. If you don't want to do that, go ahead do what you want. But I think definitely in black men's space, we needed a space to where we can say we want to set the rules. We want to say, hey, this is not okay. So I'm all for it, man.
I'm really grateful for Kevin Samuels because I was not going to be the first one to get shot. I was not going to because woo they did they put a petition up to close. They went to his high school pictures and try to go on Facebook, contact the people that he went to high school with to try to bring out something. They did his bank statement, his tax returns. I was like, man, so
Even
I
previous marriages, they hold that against him, and I'm like, at least he's tried.
he tried. At the end of the day, like he says, marriage is not guaranteed, but you can't be out here having kids and you're not getting married.
Yeah.
What do you believe, right? The black YouTube space, do you believe us as collective? Because the black YouTube space is it's very everyone's on like you'll see in the comments, everyone is tight niche,
Yeah.
right? So you go to this person's channel, you see the same people commenting, you go on this, and they're all kind of tight niche. Do you believe as a whole, do we focus on building or destroying?
You know, I wouldn't even say that. I think there's a lot of people who are just congregating. And I don't think, for the most part, a lot of people care, just to be honest with you. I there's spaces after I've become a content creator, I've realized that there are spaces in which people who just generally just want to be entertained. I'm surprised at the people who take certain stances and in the comment section, but I realize that, you know, we're not seeing nearly half of who is actually watching. You may see a stream with 100 people in it, but 50 of the people don't respond. You don't know if they're enemies. You don't know if they're followers. You don't know if they're just watching on TV. That was another thing that a lot of people don't really get is that when you're watching it and you see viewers, some people are watching on TV, so they're not even commenting. They can't even see the comments. So I've realized just to essentially view viewers as just like a jury that is just you don't know. You can't judge. So the comment section may give you an indication on how they're swaying, but for the most part, you don't know what's going on. I've as much as I've been through on YouTube, I've had people who I know I've never seen on the comments, and they've inboxed me in favor of my positions.
Mm,
I've seen negative comments on left on videos that I've realized that why are you doing that? And
mm,
I've realized that you can't judge the the audience. Let the audience be the audience, because the audience will always be the audience, and they will judge who is the winner or loser, and they will end up subscribing or not subscribing, or they will make sure you, all you have to do is make sure that you're not capping or not, just make sure you're true, because sooner or later somebody will view the video and they'll agree or disagree. So that's all I could, I guess I'm just jaded because I'm a content creator now.
Yeah, I mean, people will you just have some people, they're just there to, they just, they seen you on a channel, they seen you something, they don't like something you said, and they'll make you could block them. They'll make a whole new YouTube account just to come back on you, or they hate your content, but they'll create a new account and go in under a different name just to watch you and do a whole reaction videos, like, you know. Um so
And sometimes, like, I was when I started with Lapeef, and I remember just so much of the people who were against me, and then when I went on to another podcast, how they were cheering for me, and I was just stunned at the fact that they made such a 180, that I real I it really solidified the fact that a lot of people really are, depending on the space, they're just going to change their behaviors, and it's up to you to ensure that you're putting forth the best content for the space that's available. Don't try to do too much. Just do what you can for the space. If you're the enemy on one channel, go to another channel and you're a superstar there. They'll love you there. Don't try to make yourself the superstar on your enemy channel. Own it. You know why you're the enemy. I know. I know why. So,
one thing I want to say, there's two channels that I want to give credit to, that as changing the social media platform.
mm-hmm.
Kevin Samuel, he calls himself the Godfather. He earned the title. He got everyone with the lights, right? Everyone got their little lights.
Yes.
Everything is neat. You're trying to make sure. Kevin Samuels and Lapeef Network,
Yes.
I do give them credit as far as the panel. I have it before Lapeef Network. I didn't really see too many people doing the panel, you know, and I do give them credit to that. I I do believe, I give Lapeef a lot of credit. Lapeef, Anton, all of them, I give them a lot of credit. You know, I give them a lot of credit. I do see that the focus is very toxic, turning, especially the group. But and overall, I do give them a lot of credit for. I learned to take what I can from people, especially when it comes to celebrities. You gotta you know, take one thing and you gotta move on. You cannot, if you look at them entirely, you're gonna be like, damn, I hate, I don't like them. Take what you can, keep it moving. So I do give Kevin Samuels and give Lapeef Network a really really big give him
I
a big
think I
thumbs up.
think that's like part of the COVID era. Like I said, for the most part, Zoom was our connected
Mm.
medium. Then Restream and StreamYard, they started coming out, and there's other platforms. But I think, like I said, it's just one of those things that there may be only one Kevin Samuels, there may be only one Lapeef, but at the same time, we have to give respect to where we first seen certain things. I remember Lapeef when I first started seeing them; they were very small. I remember Kevin Samuels when I first seen him; he was very small, and you're seeing the fruits of that. Can we mimic that? That's to be seen. There's a lot of Kevin Samuels clones. There's a lot of Lapeef clones. You know.
I just figured, I just take what I can. From
Yeah.
Kevin Samuel, I just take what I can. Lapeef, I just take what I can. I don't like, me personally, the panel with so many people on there. I think people a little bit. You have to learn how to agree to disagree.
Yeah.
And if I say something, if you say something, I don't have to add to it. You what you said was like, even if I agree with you, let it. That's it. Let that die out. But the woman yelling at the men, and the guys yelling at the women.
Yeah.
Even the group is kind of crazy. But who do you feel is more privileged, blacks or gays in America?
Oh, the most privileged. That is one of those tricky questions. I would almost say, uh, to be honest with you, gays. The reason why is because they have the opportunity to cross color lines. The general black man cannot, or the general heterosexual black man cannot cross color lines. The gay black man can cross color lines. So their opportunities are vastly different than our traits. And we're speaking on a higher level, but for the most part, yeah, they have more or less the coalitions, they have the groups, the organizations, they have the theme, the message, the support, the funding. So yeah, I would definitely say homosexuals, transgender, queer groups are probably more privileged based on the fact that they're able to cross lines that heterosexual black men, like I once said before, is the most regulated people can't. We
Mm.
can't. The fact of the matter is that the black man that's willing to raise his family as a heterosexual man does not have the same voice as a person who's willing to sleep in bed with somebody else. So that's just a fact of life, and that's speaking as somebody who's seen it from San Francisco.
Mm.
I understand, from my standpoint, I've seen what the apex of homosexuality, gay lifestyle wants. Moving down to the South, I understand where the disconnect. I see their goalposts. I see where there's a separation from what they want from their lifestyle to what is currently on the ground right now. As a black man, I also see where we want and where we want to go. I just don't see that America's willing to give that up. They're willing to give more or less the gay lifestyle and give segments like Chinatowns, Mexican town, Italian towns. They're willing to segment that out, but for the black man, it's going to be hard to rip that away from them.
Yeah, I think that have you noticed that the way social media is being played is that homosexuality is accepted everywhere. Like you see it everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in real life, real life, that's not accepted everywhere.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
um,
tolerated more, but
it's tolerated, but
yeah,
my children's life, um,
most
you
people
don't
are
dictate that.
conservative. Let's be honest. Let's just say it. Most people are conservative. Most people want women and men to have children and to live the picket lifestyle.
Well, I think what it is of course, but what it is that okay, so homosexuality to a lot of people it wasn't okay, and then it became what, that's your business. Oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's fine. It's your business. And then
Mm-hmm.
it becomes okay, but now you have to accept it in your
Yeah.
personal life. You gotta be okay. You gotta And then and now it's becoming um we're gonna teach your children about homosexuality.
Yeah.
Your children should be able to change their sex. That's what they're
Mm-hmm.
fighting for. And it's like, see, when you anything in life, when you give someone an inch, they take a mile.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of those things. Like I said, whenever you allow extremities, it, extremities are always going to be extremities. You know, I don't have personally. I don't think it's really relevant in a lot of spaces because, like I said, I have a different idea. I have a different perspective. I've seen I've grown up living in San Francisco on seeing Castro Street. Like when you see men in chaps and booty shorts, it's like, and I'm still have no fear of gay people. I don't have no fear, so it's like I don't care. But I can understand for a large group of people who don't understand that lifestyle, they feel attacked. So, you know, I to me, my personal thing was like, look, man, just I don't care. Like, just raise your children right. We'll figure this out. There's a lot more that in terms of the community that I'm really more worried about than anything else. Like, I'll just be honest with you. Like, that stuff is like minor. Like,
What do you think about what do you think about especially in the cities, a lot of the blacks are um not paying attention to city council,
yeah.
right? I mean, I started paying attention to city council maybe last year, and I'm 36. So, and you start to find out, like, recently in New York City, it passed through Senate that they're going to be teaching oral sex to kindergartens.
Mm.
So my issue with this stuff is that, and they're going to be teaching it's okay, to be gay. I think kids shouldn't even learn nothing sexual, like anything
Yeah.
sexual.
I
So
agree.
I think the problem is that you're trying to indoctrinate the kids. Why? Because that's what becomes the future. But teaching them ABCs, man.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the tough part. That's one of those things, like I said, we may, instead of, we used to teach shop and home ec at a certain age. Let's just get back to that first before we get. Let's get back to traditional things first, and then we can get back to what these groups want to treat
Because during the
prescribe.
COVID, I think everyone, including myself, everyone that wasn't handy suffered. If you didn't fix stuff, you know,
Oh Lord! Oh,
and
don't get me started on that. We had bought a house. Look. We had bought our house probably 2 months before COVID. It was
oh
it was a
no.
blessing.
Oh, it was okay.
Yes, it was a blessing, but also as a man, it was kind of hard because, like I said, I had to buy my first lawnmower. I had to buy my first weed eater. I had to unclog like my real toilet that without calling anybody. So, you
Mm.
know, as a man, it was very challenging, but it was a good experience. Like I said, I think you, with the COVID, you either took it on the chin or you got swallowed up, but for the most part, it proved it. I knew who I was, and it improved who I was. So I'm fine with what.
Um, Within the black community, what's one thing you want to take away from the black community that you believe will help us?
The one thing that I would take away from the black community is the fact that you know you don't have as much control as you. We're more connected. The one thing, like I said, I would take away from the black community is that we are more connected than you think. We like we as much as people say we're not monoliths and all that stuff. No, no. I think the Black Panthers proved that you put leather jackets on, you say that your hair is its natural color, you stand up, the whole country will follow. The whole country will follow. As black people anywhere, you can create a movement, whether you want to believe it or not. There can be a instant revolution based on a group from anywhere in where we are more connected than you think. So I would take away that because I think that's the thing that's holding us back most because we kind of compartmentalize us as to West Coast brothers and East Coast brothers and down South brothers, and then you got Creole brothers, and then you got Florida. We kind of compartmentalize all of our experiences, but I tell people all the time, the moment the Hot Boys came out, I was wearing Reeboks and Jabogs and white tees. Instantly, I changed my my money output. I changed my behavior. I changed what I wanted to dress like, what I was willing to invest in, based on an album. So we're more connected than we think. We just have to put our connections into better, positive things that can actually influence change in our communities. So I get it that, we feel as if we're separated, but we're not that much separated.
What's one thing you want to add that you think that will help us?
Oh God, the one thing I would love to add is the more connectivity. Get us more connected. Get us more in tune to. I was recently at a Black Manosphere event in Atlanta, and there's a lot of brothers that actually want to do tech. There's more brothers that want to do trucking. Let's connect more. Let's be more connected. On the reverse side, we don't feel we're as much connected, but on the flip side, we are more connected than you think. We are vastly more connected. There are supervisors at your jobs. There are supervisors at your oil rig. There are supervisors, brothers that own trucks and trailers and garbage trucks. There are more men that you think are empowered than. So we can commute. We just need to connect more. We need to put our pool our community resources together and make valuable change. So if that was the one thing, that would be the main thing, because I think we really don't believe that we're that much connected. But I really do believe that once, like a person like George Floyd, we've seen get his neck, you know, held down for 8 minutes, every black man in America understood what was going on. So it's like we're more connected than we think. We have more power than we think.
What do you feel about, speaking of George Floyd? What do you think about the Black Lives Matter leaders telling people to riot and loot?
Yeah, gosh, that's
Because
tough.
one of my businesses got destroyed in Queens, because of
Yeah.
a lot of the people that were affected were the same color as us. What one thing I notice about us as blacks, why are we always looking for one person of leadership, right? Why we don't come together as a collective? Like Black, I'm not over you. You're not over me. We should come together and form that. Maybe that's just my. I don't know. What do you feel about the
My thing
riots?
is this. My thing is this. My thing is this. You know, I come from Oakland. I come from organization. I've also seen where riots have done good for our country. You know, I'm never going to stop a young man from expressing himself. That's the one thing. You don't tell the youth what to do. You prepare the youth for what they need to do. So it's tough when I see a business that is black owned getting destroyed, but I also want to make sure that we present put them in the correct position.
So you support riots?
Yeah, in a way. I cannot sit here and lie to you. I support riots because most rioters are youth. Most rioters are expressing a emotional detachment from the system. So when you get those two things mixed together, then yeah, you have to address it.
What do you feel that a black man what exactly, and of course you could go on about this, for a long period of time, but
Mm-hmm.
what do you feel like the white man is currently holding back from black? Like what is it that um I guess, like, what power does a white man has in 2021 has over a black man for him to cause him to go commit a crime and riot and destroy businesses?
I would say, that's a tough question. I think it's right now in this day and age, we're probably in the spaces that we're saying that, okay, why does this person have this job? Why aren't we influencing the behaviors of training? Why aren't we influencing legislation? Why is a person getting off scot free? You know, why is somebody getting shot in the middle of the street with a AR-15 and walking through the police like Kyle Rittenhouse while a brother can't hold a gun anywhere in America? Like, so the power that we're seeing now is not necessarily the power that we feel as if is written. Is more or less the implied power, the implied message that our lives don't matter. So the power that I think most black people feel is that, you know, we just want to be treated fairly. If I have a gun on my hand and if a police officer pulls me over, I shouldn't fear for my life any more than a white person. So I think that's the power that I think we're fighting now, is that the implied racism that we're just human rights, basic human decency rights.
What do you feel about? Do you think that police brutality is more of an issue than the black on black crime?
Um, Gosh, man, man, I'm from Oakland, man. It's like, you know, you trying to bring the right, you trying to bring the rebel out on me, man. I'm married now, you know, but man,
But no, I do think that it's important for young people to see. I know your stance. I watch your videos, right? But it is very important for people to, especially black young men, to see two black men speak to each other,
yeah,
disagree on some things, but we have a lot more in common than we have not in common, and we do need to find a way to make sure that we're building with,
yes,
unless it's like something you're way off with, and then it's like, all right, you know, I'm not, you know, especially when it comes to children, so I'm not cool with it. But general stuff, we can disagree, but
mm-hmm.
in overall, our agreement needs to be how can we get better and help others get better. So, and it was by someone that looks like us. You know, I think the PPP loan that had to been intentional with the government. That PPP loan, I don't something had this because of the PPP loan. There's a lot of people that even have a corporation, and they received all these funds in a lot of the urban communities. Have you heard about the PPP loan going rapid? Like people that apply for it?
Yeah, yeah. I think, you know, like I said, it's one of those things where morality comes into it. If you understand anything about business, you understand anytime the L word comes up in terms of excuse me, but in terms of loans, you know you're gonna have to pay it back. I don't care what. There's no such thing as free money. So you know, like I have one credit card, and that's not because I can't apply for a credit card. It's because I can't. I do not want to have more than debt than I need to have. My wife, she goes into the bank all the time, and they try to get her to get more than one credit card. I said, look, you have one credit card. If you need more credit, ask them to increase the balance on yours. You know, healthy and financial responsibility is not taught in America, black or white. So when the PPP loan stuff came out, I'm pretty sure people from all sides have been getting hit because greed, America breeds greed. It breeds the fact that people are going to have systems that are going to get it. So I wouldn't I don't look too far into it because like I said, if it wasn't PPP loan, it's then breaking into stores and groups. That's what's going on in LA. I just think that inherently, if you give the opportunity to certain individuals, they will take it.
I'm actually really grateful that I didn't have the opportunity to apply for the PP loan when I was 19.
Lord,
Imagine you apply for $100,000, $500,000, it'll be to you within a week. Man,
but think. I want you to understand where was the PPP loan when the tech boom went off?
Mm.
That was one of the greatest recessions in American history.
I was kind of confused about that. I was like, man, where is this? Why release this now? And the approval. The approval has never been so simple. Never so simple. And a lot of celebrities getting caught out there too.
Yeah, I mean, but like you got to understand, we had the worst housing crisis in 2008. What was the
Yeah.
PPP loan for them?
Yeah, that's kind of
It's like, I think like I do think that, this was a special situation where the economy was stopped purposely by the government. However, you gotta put it in perspective in terms of, hey, if it wasn't PPP, these people would probably be stealing from some other system. I think the one thing I do think that COVID did increase was the gun value. But you give people $4,400 or $3,600, and the state doesn't even require background checks. It's like you're gonna get more guns.
guns and drugs. Just this week, a 20-year-old was caught in Queens, one of the co-ops areas, pretty wealthy areas, middle class, pretty wealthy areas, and he got caught with ghost guns. Ghost guns. He had the machinery to create a gun,
Yeah.
so he got caught with 20 years old. you know, so that's going all over New York City. New York City is just it's horrible.
I love New York. New York is like they say Brooklyn or New York is much like Oakland, and I I went to New York one time. Of course, it's like Madison Square Garden, see the Statue of Liberty, go down Broadway. But I like New York. I got me some incense that was really good.
Oh yeah, I love New York City, but I think that is definitely under really really poor, very poor leadership.
Hmm.
And just the mental illness is just like
Yeah.
yeah, people
Oakland's
being
going through the same thing.
something's definitely in the water. I try to make sure my water's filtered, boil that.
Man, like when I talk about these urban cities, do you think it's the death of the urban city in terms of it just can't be supported no more? Too many people are moving into places like Atlanta, New York, Miami. We're talking about most urban, even Houston, like is getting crime waves. Like people are now just moving into bigger cities and smaller spaces, and it's just it comes to an apex to a point to where the the law enforcement cannot handle it.
Well, I know for New York City, one of the major issues people want to defund the police. You
Hmm.
know, um, that sounds great. I guess the thought of it, but less presence of the police. I do believe there needs to be a lot of retraining.
Hmm.
I think the academy needs to be extended.
Yeah.
I think the academy should be extended for maybe a year. I'm let them get full pay for 1 year. They're in training for a year. Maybe they come out, a few weeks on the field and get back into training. But I do think even when they graduate from the academy, there should be every 2 years. There should be 2 weeks of training, something like that. Even when you're in the military, once a month, you got to once a weekend, you got to go for training
Yes.
as a reach. So I think that's what needs to happen, and
Yeah.
I do think that cops do need a break, because they're dealing with a lot of they're dealing with a lot of bad people. So unfortunately, when they get around a good person, they get kind of the bad end and stick. And then also, cops are people, the same people that's rioting and doing, they became cops. So
Hmm.
but what's happening in New York City, just to be brief, is that too much money is running through New York City
Hmm.
under very poor leadership.
Yeah.
De Blasio is a mayor in New York City. He had a program called Thrive. He's the worst. Have you heard of Mayor De Blasio?
Yeah, I've heard of De Blasio. I remember
Horrible.
when he got re-elected. Yeah.
Who the hell voted for him? So He currently had a program called Thrive. Is $1 billion that went through that program, and he's not providing proof of where that funds went. His program is supposed to be handling the mental ill. So I think what's happening is that you have these people. Who the hell's voting for these people? I don't care if it's a Democrat. I don't care if it's a Republican. The violence is surging through New York City, and the funds. New York City is being funded, and there's no accountability of where these funds are going.
One of my friends, he ended up from high school. He ended up running for a district position, and the amount of money that he said it took to actually go door to door to meet the people is just it. I can see where a lot of people get corrupted, where you have to create nonprofits that funnel money through special grant programs. So, I feel bad for the politicians because you would want the door to door politician. The fact of the matter is that that's only going to be in small towns.
And they don't
And
support it. And
yeah.
what happened is that they you know they just passed a bill through the Senate in New York City, so illegals are able to vote.
Wait.
They don't even speak English. So, and I'm not against them. I'm not against, but at the same time, if someone's coming to a country they don't understand, now they're able to vote. Where did they come from? So they came through the border, which you could just walk right through.
Yeah.
So the current president administration took them. You can look it up. Flew them out on their own jet to urban cities, including New York City, dropped them off and drove them to their locations. So now what happened? We have an increase of 650,000 just this year of illegals. And now they have the right to vote. See, my thing with us as black people, we're fighting the wrong fight.
Yeah.
I think we're focusing on too much on I'm better than you. Just there's no reason why the illegals are overpowering us.
Yeah, that's a tough situation because, you know, with the civil rights, we became the defenders of all. If you do anything bad to my yellow brothers, you're doing bad to us. If you do anything bad to our brown brothers, you're doing bad to us. If you do anything bad to our pink or yellow or green, whatever, you potentially have the probability to do bad against us. So we've taken on that mantle, but within that, a lot of the things that we may not necessarily agree with, because most of us are traditional, I do believe, we have to take because the repercussions are so severe. You know, on one side you say those stories, but then on the flip side, I look at Texas to where we had an influx of a population that is so large that we still ended up giving redistricting to two white districts. Like the congressman that is covered under my jurisdiction, if you was to look at the congressional district that we live in, it would be ridiculous. You would be like laughing because you would understand that they took a swath of a large city, a suburb that was so white and populated, and diluted the black population that I live in now, and you're literally covering hundreds of miles. No economic, uh, no economic trade. No, there's just no rhyme or reason for it. The only reason why is because there's so many black people in so many areas that they have to do it. So the whole political game, whether you believe on the conservative or liberal game side, is just totally jacked up. But I believe that as black people, if we organize, we can change this stuff, man. We can change this. We can make this change. And we have to make a global change. I think with the Million Man March, we missed the opportunity to just either not vote or to vote for a candidate or to demand certain things. I think I felt with the two governors or the two senator seats in Georgia that we would get more respect, and I'm not seeing that either. You
Mm.
know, I think this may just be the last. You know, I'm looking forward to it. Let me be honest with you. I'm looking forward to it because if people aren't gonna react, if people go along with the same old stuff that they seen in 2020, I think we're gonna see a very big change in 2024, and it might not be good for on all sides.
Yeah. How do you feel about Joe Biden, right? On a scale of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, right? Or you could separate them, but Joe Biden, on a scale of 1 to 10, one being bad, one being good, what would you rate him?
I'd have to be like 5. Like he's par for the average white president. So
how do you feel? How do you feel, right? And I probably gotta edit this part out because
yeah,
we can't talk about vaccines and how
yeah,
do you feel about Dr. Fauci, right? He got caught in his email stating that masks don't work
hmm
and that he contributed to um I'm not sure if you're familiar, but he contributed to gain of function to take the coronavirus that's not effective to humans and convert it into COVID-19 that's going to affect humans. And
yeah.
America's ignoring that, right?
I seen where he kind of spoke on gain of function. Um, like I said, I'm not.
He needs to go to jail.
No, well, the thing about it is this: I'm not a biologist. I do understand grants. I do understand money trails. I have freaking no clue on what's going on. To be honest with you, like the gamesmanship, like look, when I heard about game, what was it? Gain of
Function?
yeah, gain of functions, right? From my understanding, is like when the internet got started. You know,
Mm.
Texas Tech's got a grant to say, hey, prove the internet can work, and Cal Berkeley is on the other side proving it can work too, and y'all work together. And the same thing is with China and US. You guys are working together. Y'all might not like each other. Y'all might play football games against each other, but hey, we got this other thing, and this money is in the background that it gets into that.
Yeah.
It gets, basically it gets into that to where people who are enemies of enemies are friends of friends, and there's exchange of money. And like I said, you don't really know what's really going on.
Mm.
The fact of the matter is that when it comes down to it, the mask thing, gosh, you know, the fact it's tough because, like I said, I've seen people in my work office who were against mask, and all of them got adverse reactions to COVID.
Mm.
I'm talking about women, children, classrooms getting shut down. The only people who didn't get affected for the most part were the people who said, you know what, we're gonna wear a mask.
Yeah, I believe in the mask. I do believe that it is,
But that's
um
anecdotal. That's anecdotal. It could
it's
be
it's, it's really
severity.
out
It
of
could
hand.
be. It could be. It could be microbiology. It could be a lot of different things.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. To keep it real with you, but I don't think we're in this stone age to where like we're discovering penicillin.
Yeah.
So we're able to micro sequence stuff. I'm a computer programmer. I can read enough. I didn't take the first batch of vaccines. I know what statistics is. I can see when 100,000 people take a vaccine and there's like 3 people who may have gotten sick. Like stuff like that. Like I said, I just try to make as much of the educated decision that I can. I don't have the answers. I argue with my friends all the time. They're anti-vaxxers. I've argued with some people who say, "Hey, take the vax." It's like I don't know. Nobody really cares.
I don't
No.
think nobody really knows.
Yeah.
I think it's really the problem when it comes to the children.
Yes.
Trying to get the
Now
5 year
that's
old,
yes.
5 to 11 year old, and it's people
But
even
let's
to
be
this day,
honest.
it's
I
in
have a
clinical trials.
kindergartner. I have a kindergartner. She had to take a lot of stuff. Let's be honest. Like she had to take a lot of stuff that like may or may not even be relevant now. I
I
forgot
think a
what.
lot of it's definitely outdated. I
Yeah,
believe it's definitely, if you really look at what's being put in, it's outdated. I
yeah,
haven't heard of this disease, and
yeah. I think it was like the mumps or something.
yeah,
Like the mumps, or and then you got like I do like the chicken pox. Like I remember the chicken pox.
yeah.
Yeah, I had chicken pox. Like it wasn't that bad. Like
I had it too. It was like the flu. I mean, you're sick for a few days and you bounce up,
oh, I had
and
it bad. I had the
I had
whole
the bumps
thing.
all over. Yeah,
Yeah, and you sitting in about tub of oatmeal and stuff, and
mm,
stuff like that. But like I said, that's one of those things. Like I said, as individuals, you just have to take a look at, view what's mandated, make the wise decision. Don't trust every source. Triple check the source. Go to college, learn statistics, learn how to read a chart, figure out what is real. Because I could sit here and tell you a statistic about certain things, and the statistic can be skewed to my point, and it can be very valid. But at
yeah.
the same time, in the grand scope of things of 1 million people, if I told you 1,000 people died from a vaccine, you'd be like, "Oh, I'm never taking that vaccine." But then if I said, "Well, 30 million people took it," you'd be like, "Okay."
That's nothing compared to
Yeah,
yeah.
and then all 1,000 people die, and instantly know, well, they weren't supposed to take it anyway. It's like, so I don't know if you're gonna record this, but like I said,
No, this part I have to take out because we can't.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
They'll. Be
but but like I said, I'm not gonna sit here and be like the I make, like I said, as a father, I've realized that I have to make tough decisions.
Mm,
Like I have to figure out whether she rides a bike or not, skateboards or not, walks down the street or not. There's things that we have to make decisions, and some things you're forced to do.
mm. Yeah,
But
I think I agree with it. I just think that that should be your decision,
yeah,
but you should give me the decision not to.
yeah. But
You know.
like I said, she took a lot of stuff. Like we didn't get her when she was born. She didn't get vaccinated, and then like 3-4 days after she was born, she they
It's like,
plopped her like they plopped her like a turkey,
mm,
and it was like we were kind of in a position to where it was like, do we hinder her, or
mm.
do we not? And it's like we're talking like your early HPV, your early hepatitis, and your early 2 week stuff, and then you got to come back 6 months later, 3 months later, and these are things that are required by your school board. So whether I'm on the vaccination side or not, I still have to make the conscious decision to be like, you know what, I'm gonna research.
Mm.
I'm gonna make good educated decisions rather than acting on emotions, because even though I may not want to, like I don't take flu shots, but
Nah, I don't.
yeah. So, but at the same time, I have to be conscious enough to say, you know what, do I want my daughter to take a flu shot
Mm.
or a vitamin C shot? People don't understand vitamin C, or vitamin is not really a vitamin. It's a steroid. Like learning what's going on, and having it like making cost
I
basis.
think when you look on the internet, you may you Google something because Google's more on the very one sided. But if you were to just do try your best to do as much research. What the way I look at it is like before you make a move, just do your best to at least look it up.
Yeah.
That's it. Just that's the
Just
best you can do, and just go from there. Try to take your vitamin C, D, and drink water, work out, and I think you'll be okay whether you take the vaccination or you're
I
not.
just think we're fucked already. That's the point. We're like done now. Like the game is our. We're in the matrix. Like
And they
I'm
may do
fucked.
another shutdown. I think this second shutdown I think it's going to be hell from conservative and from Demo. I think on both ends because too many people has lost money. People lost businesses. It's way too much. So, but listen, right? So, 2022 is a few weeks away.
Mm-hmm.
What can your supporters expect from you?
You know, I'm doing a rebrand of a lot of stuff that I'm doing. I was originally just starting out trying a lot of things. 2022 is going to be definitely a refocus about what my brand is about, what I'm here to bring. I have a lot more eyes on me now. I can't deny that, and just I'm just gonna try to put my message out in a better, concise message, clearer message, and I hope everybody can appreciate it. But other than that, 2022 is gonna be fun. It's gonna be me strutting my stuff, having fun, trying to be more interactive, putting out more or less of my personality that I want people to see.
How do you want your supporters to support you?
Right now, just like I said, just support by being real. Just be real about everything. Just if you like something, like it. If you viewed it. Interact. I love comments. That's the one thing I didn't think I would love about YouTube is the comments. Is the fact that people, I can actually connect with people and argue about whether I made a video that was off basis or not, or if they had a different projection on a video. So that's the best. If you want to support me, at least interact with me by commenting. Let me know how you feel on your mind. That way, I can either change or make better.
So we're gonna put you on what's called the hot seat. Okay.
Uh
So why will make that face? So the hot seat basically, I ask a question, or I will give you that's to make a statement, and you just respond or answer with only one word.
One word. Okay.
Okay. So what state you don't want to live in?
Wyoming.
Heads or tails?
Heads.
Family.
Daughter.
Marriage.
Submissive.
Do you love black people?
Yes.
Do you love white people?
They alright. Alright.
Money.
Not necessary.
Homeless people.
Compassion.
America's current state.
Prayer.
YouTube or Instagram?
Oh, YouTube.
Biggie Smalls or Tupac?
Pac.
If there was a war, who would win? East Coast or West Coast?
West Coast.
How to go to heaven?
Faith.
Do you love white Jesus?
No.
Winter.
Timberlands.
Summer.
Vacation.
Lizzo.
Talent.
It's free.
Take it. Or take.
Your last name. The meaning.
Oh, not possessive. Or if I gotta answer one word, God. Earned.
This interview.
Inspiring.
E Black, appreciate it, man. You took your time out, I know you're a busy guy, but you took time out all day to give me this. I do appreciate it.
Yeah.
So for the thumbnail, do you mind if you move over to the left? Oh, you got that Tupac right there, man. Oh, that's cool. I don't want to
Yeah,
mess
yeah.
that
How you
up.
gonna ask me about Pac and it's already. You gonna have people already know it.
Oh.